Hello, my dear students. Welcome to a new episode of Life Science. Today, we will talk about a different system in our body or the human body. This is the lymphatic system. Every time your heart pumps, a little fluid is forced out of the thin walls of the capillaries. Yes, we already know that when your heart pumps blood, the blood starts to move inside the blood vessels. But some of the fluid is forced to get out of the thin walls or through the thin walls of the capillaries. Some of this fluid collects in the spaces around your cells. So what will happen to this fluid? Let's see. Most of the fluid is reabsorbed through the capillaries into your blood again, but some of this fluid is not reabsorbed. This fluid moves into your lymphatic system. Here we come to the definition of the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system, this is the group of organs and tissues that collect the excess fluid and return it to your blood. The lymphatic system also helps your body fight pathogens. One more time, what is the lymphatic system? This is the group of organs and tissues that collect the excess fluid and return it to your blood. And also the lymphatic system helps your body fight pathogens. Pathogens, these are the particles that cause disease to our body, like bacteria and viruses. The fluid collected by the lymphatic system is carried through the vessels. These vessels, the smallest vessels of the lymphatic system, since they are very small, so they are like capillaries, but they are part of the lymphatic system, so they are called lymph capillaries. Lymph capillaries absorb some of the fluid and the particles from between your cells. Okay. These particles are too large to enter the blood capillaries. Some of these particles actually they are dead cells or pathogens. The fluid and the particles, the fluid that leaked from the blood vessels and the particles absorbed into lymph capillaries, they are called lymph. So the lymph capillaries, these are the vessels of the lymphatic system, but the lymph itself, this is the fluid, including the particles inside. So again, the lymphatic system is a collection of organs whose primary function is to collect extracellular fluid. Extracellular means the fluids that are outside the cells and return it to the blood. And what is lymph? Lymph is the fluid that is collected by the lymphatic vessels and nodes. We will know what nodes mean later. Lymph capillaries carry lymph into larger vessels. They are called the lymphatic vessels, like the blood vessels, the arteries and veins, and the blood capillaries. The small ones, they are called the lymph capillaries. The larger ones, they are called the lymphatic vessels. The skeletal muscles squeeze these vessels to force the lymph through the lymphatic system. Great. Also, the lymphatic vessels, they have valves. Do you remember the function of the valves? To prevent the backflow of blood. These are in the blood vessels. But in the lymphatic vessels, they stop the backflow of the lymph. Lymph drains into the large neck veins, the veins located in our neck of the cardiovascular system. Can you see this image right here? Do you remember the blood vessels? The ones that are shown in red, these are the arteries. The ones that are shown in blue, these are veins, and in between are the blood capillaries. But can you see these yellow vessels? These are the lymphatic vessels and the lymph capillaries. Can you see the white arrows right here? Yes, the white arrows show the movement of lymph, the fluid itself, into lymph capillaries and through the lymphatic vessels. Other parts of the lymphatic system. In addition to vessels and capillaries, several organs and tissues are part of the lymphatic system. As you can see, the tonsils, the thymus, lymph nodes, the spleen, also the lymphatic vessels. Actually, bone marrow plays an important role in your lymphatic system, and we will study this later. The other parts of the lymphatic system, they are the lymph nodes, then the thymus gland, spleen, and the tonsils. So let's talk first about the bone marrow. Do you remember the bone marrow from the skeletal system? The bones are very important to your lymphatic system. The bone marrow is the soft tissue inside your bones. Bone marrow is where most red and white blood cells are produced, white blood cells, including the lymphocytes. What are lymphocytes? It's a type of white blood cells that helps your body fight pathogens. Again, lymphocytes, they are a type of white blood cells that help your body fight pathogens. And we said that pathogens are any foreign particles that can cause disease, like bacteria and viruses. Then what about the lymph nodes? As you can see, these points, they are lymph nodes that are located in several parts of our body, but they are concentrated in the neck, or they are called cervical lymph nodes. Others below the armpit or in the area of the armpit, they are called axillary lymph nodes, and the groin or inguinal lymph nodes, they are beside our hips. As lymph travels through the lymphatic vessels, it passes through the lymph nodes. These are like several stops to purify or clean the lymph. Lymph nodes, they are small, bean-shaped masses of tissue that remove pathogens and dead cells of the lymph. The lymph nodes, they are concentrated in the armpits, our neck, and the groin. The lymph nodes contain lymphocytes. Do you remember? A type of white blood cells that fight pathogens. These lymphocytes are divided into two types. Some lymphocytes, they are called killer T cells, surround and destroy pathogens at once, while other lymphocytes, they are called B cells. They produce antibodies that attach to pathogens. So they are like marking pathogens. These marked pathogens clump together, they stick to each other, and then they are destroyed by other cells. When bacteria or other pathogens cause an infection, the white blood cells may multiply greatly. In order to fight this infection, the lymph nodes fill with white blood cells that are fighting the infection, like the lymphocytes. As a result, some lymph nodes may become swollen and painful. Yes, your doctor may feel these swollen lymph nodes to see if you have an infection. In fact, if your lymph nodes are swollen and sore, you can feel them, or even your parent can feel them too. The swollen lymph nodes, this is like a sign or an early clue that you have an infection. Then what about thymus? T cells develop from immature lymphocytes produced in the bone marrow. Yes, before these T cells are ready to fight infections, they develop further in the thymus. What is the thymus and where it is located? As you can see, it is in between your lungs. Actually, they are behind the breastbone. The thymus is a gland that produces T cells that are ready to fight infection. The thymus is located behind the breastbone, just above the heart. Mature lymphocytes from the thymus travel through the lymphatic system to other areas of your body. Great. Then another organ in your lymphatic system, this is the spleen. Your spleen is the largest lymphatic organ. Can you see the spleen? It looks like it is behind the stomach to its upper side. Your spleen is the largest lymphatic organ. The spleen stores and produces lymphocytes. The spleen is a purplish organ. It is purple in color and about the size of your fist. Also, the spleen is soft and spongy. It is located in the upper left side of your abdomen. As the blood flows through the spleen, it acts as a filter. Lymphocytes attack or mark pathogens in the blood. If the pathogens cause an infection, the spleen may also release more lymphocytes in the bloodstream to fight this infection. In addition to being part of your lymphatic system, the spleen also produces, monitors, stores, and destroys the blood cells. When the red blood cells or RBCs are squeezed through the spleen's capillaries, there are capillaries in the spleen. The older and more fragile cells burst. In this case, these damaged red blood cells are then taken apart or taken away by some of the cells in the spleen. Some parts of these red blood cells may be reused. For this reason, we can think of the spleen as the red blood cell recycling center. So this is a center for recycling red blood cells. So let's look deeper in our spleen. As you can see from this image, the spleen is divided into white bulbs and red bulbs. Let's see what are these. The spleen has two important functions. The white bulb is a part of the lymphatic system that produce white blood cells that fight infections like the lymphocytes, while the red blood or the red bulb removes the unwanted materials. So this is the filtration system. The red bulb removes unwanted materials such as damaged or defective red blood cells from the blood. However, it is possible to lead a healthy life without your spleen. Yes, if the spleen is damaged or removed from the body, other organs in the body take many of its functions. They work as if the spleen is already there. Then what about tonsils? The lymphatic system includes your tonsils. The tonsils, they are lymphatic tissue in the nasal cavity, the cavity of your nose, and at the back end of your mouth, on either side of the tongue. They are on the sides of the tongue. Each tonsil is about the size of a large olive. They help defend the body against infection. Can you see? They are at the back of your mouth on the sides of the tongue. Lymphocytes in the tonsils trap pathogens that enter the throat. So this is like a defense mechanism. Sometimes the tonsils become infected and red. They are red, swollen, or very sore. Actually, severely infected tonsils like the one in this picture, they may be covered with patches of white infected tissue. As you can see, they are severely infected tonsils. Sore swollen tonsils make swallowing difficult. Sometimes a doctor will suggest surgery to remove the tonsils. In the past, this surgery was frequently done in childhood, but now it is less common because surgery now is done only if a child has frequent severe tonsil infections or if a child's tonsils are so enlarged that breathing is difficult. These are the only cases now to remove the tonsils. I hope you understood this episode. See you in the next one. Thank you guys and goodbye.